Hello everyone and welcome to our quiz today on Microsoft Excel. We would request you to bear with us for a few minutes for other people to join this stream. Feel free to introduce yourself in the comment section while we wait for a few more people. Just as a reminder, to take part in the quiz, it is highly recommended to use your mobile phone to visit the website www.menti.com and use the code 23035639 to take part in the quiz. You can see the code on the screen. It's mentioned at the top. It's visible on the screen. You can also use a different tab on your laptop browser to take part in the quiz. But a live stream will be broadcasting the results as soon as the people give the answers. So it is beneficial to have both screens right in front of you so you can be aware of how the standings are going to be. Once you open the link and input the code, just wait for the quiz to start and be ready to answer the questions right away. The quicker you answer, the more points you get. So think fast and click faster. But before we get started with our quiz, let's take a look at the basics of Microsoft Excel with a small introduction to the topic. So, what exactly is Microsoft Excel? So, Microsoft Excel is a software product designed and developed by Microsoft for storing data in an organized way, that is, rows and columns. It is capable of manipulating data based on the mathematical operations. Followed by that, Microsoft Excel is also used to extract the insights from the data and represent it in the form of visually appealing graphs and charts. Now that we have a basic understanding or an overview per se of what is Microsoft Excel, let's learn a bit about its fundamentals in our next topic. When it comes to the fundamentals of Microsoft Excel, we need to know to install Microsoft Office. When you install Microsoft Office on your computer, you will have various Microsoft products: PowerPoint, Word, Excel, Visio, OneDrive, etc. So one of which is Microsoft Excel used to handle sheets. So when you get started with Microsoft Excel first time, this is what you will see. This is the first page, which is particularly called as the Microsoft Excel home page, where you will have a different type of sheets. Microsoft Excel will give you suggestions based on the type of sheet you want to work with as well. So once you get started with the type of sheet that you require, you can start your work. This particular option is called the toolbar menu. You will have the file, home, insert, draw, page layout, formulas, data, review, view, help, and other topics. So these are the tools that you will be using to work on your data while using Microsoft Excel. Furthermore, we have a toolbar ribbon. So you can see some of the options like file, home, insert, draw, page layout, etc. For example, we have selected the home toolbar ribbon here, which has its own set of operations. So when I press on the home tool ribbon, it gives the different kind of operations that can be performed. In a further more detailed way though, we have toolbar groups. Like we saw in the last slide, a particular ribbon is segmented into groups. So you can see the first group as paste, copy, format, painter, etc. etc. The second group is the font, size of the font, to increase the size of the font, decrease, bold, italic, all those text formatting skills that are not present by default. And the last one, you can see the text alignment as well, which is the very next one of the text formatting section. So each and every group has the separate functions, and each and every set is known as a group. You can also see a different arrow, small arrow on the corner of the font. See, this arrow is used in toolbar group, so the group is not able to fill all the operations or the functionalities in one single provided section. So when you click on this particular arrow mark, you will have another dialog box open up, which introduces a different set of operations that are not able to fit. Now moving forward, we have another topic, which are the cells and addresses. When you open a Microsoft Excel sheet, you can find different boxes. Each and every box is named as a cell, and each cell has its own address. For example, the highlighted cell in the image that you can see on the screen is B3, So B is the column name and 3 is the row name. That's how you can map the cells to their relative addresses in Microsoft Excel. And apart from that, you can have the sheet tracker in the bottom left corner of the Excel sheet where you can navigate through different sheets in the same file itself. Finally, in the bottom right corner, we have the sheet size adjuster where you have an option of increasing or decreasing the sheet size. So these are some of the basic fundamentals of Microsoft Excel that you need to keep in mind before we start the quiz. I would like to remind you again that this is how, or this is all you need to know about Microsoft Excel from a layman's perspective. To remind you to join the quiz, visit the website www.menti.com and use the code that is being shown on the screen, which is 23035639 to give your answer. Like I mentioned before, do try to join the quiz using your mobile phone to keep your eyes on the results of the quiz as it progresses on this live stream. This will help you stay in touch with the standings since the top 3 winners will be receiving Amazon vouchers on behalf of Simplilearn. Faster answers equal higher points, so fire away as soon as you get a hunch. Let's wait for a few more minutes for more people to join the quiz and then we can get started. Reminder guys, answers given on the YouTube comments cannot be considered as answers to the questions and will not be considered for vouchers. So if you have the option, please go to the website and join the quiz directly using the code mentioned on the screen. Let's wait for a few more people to join the link using that code. If any of you guys have any doubts regarding MS Excel that you need to get cleared out, you can just ask those questions straight away in the YouTube comments screen. You already have experts sitting there to answer your questions for you. It can be anything regarding to Excel that you have a doubt about, or you want to know any question that we have in the quiz in more detail. Please feel free to ask your questions in the chat screen. Just a few more moments. Almost have enough people to start. It'll just take a minute at max. Okay, so let's get started. We have enough people now. So let's get started with our first question of Microsoft Excel quiz. Remember guys, faster answers, more points. Don't miss out on the Amazon vouchers. The first question is, in which year was Microsoft Excel first released? Is it option A, 1995? Is it option B, 1985? Is it C, 1986? Or D, 1981? Reminder that this question is not which year was Microsoft Windows first released. The question is which year was Microsoft Excel as a product first released. 5 more seconds to give your answers. And the time is up. Pretty split opinions. The correct answer is option B, which is 1985. So back in the day, Charles Simoni, which is an early Microsoft employee and the man behind the creation of the spreadsheets tool for Microsoft, developed and deployed MS Excel in 1985. Who would have ever known that a simple spreadsheet application would become such a revolution in data analytics one day? Anyway, the first one was pretty simple and knowledgeable simultaneously. Let's see the leaderboard on how many people were able to get the answer correctly. Considering only 6 people were able to answer, let's see those people at the top. But there will be plenty of opportunities for others to take the position. Let's move on to question number 2. What is the shortcut key for flash fill in Excel? 4 options are either Control Shift F. The second one is Alt A. Third option is Control E. But the fourth option is Shift F. What is the keyboard shortcut for flash fill in Microsoft Excel? I assume this is a tool that many people will be using in their daily work life. So I'm hoping a high number of correct answers for this one. 3 more seconds. And the time is up. Wow, it's pretty 50-50 with the correct option being Control E, which is our third option. The flash fill is one of the latest features introduced to us with the Microsoft Office 2013 version and above. It can be depicted as a pattern matching feature that comes with Excel inbuilt. It is so smart that it recognizes the pattern your data is following and tries to replicate it the way you wish it would. For example, let us imagine you have a column with names and the names combined with first, middle, and last names. If you want to separate the data in a column titled as full name into 3 different columns, that is the first, middle, and last, then Microsoft Excel's flash fill will do it for you in a fraction of a second for the entire spreadsheet. This is something that can replace manual labor drastically. To know more, go to the Excel flash fill tutorial on our Simplilearn's YouTube channel to learn about it in more detail. 10 people answered correctly. So, okay, 9 from the top 10 leaderboard were able to, which will be pushing Shivani down to the 10th position and others to the top. Remember guys, faster answer, more points. Let's put that to use in question number 3. Select the odd sum function out of the given sum function. The options are the first option being sum of A1 to A5. Second one is A1 plus A2 up to A5. Third one is sum of A1 comma A5. And fourth option is sum of A1, A2, A3, A4, A5. Which is the odd sum function out of the given sum function. Time is almost up. 3 people answered correctly. Another constraint was short in the time, but all the options seem correct. Yet, still 3 people got it right. Great. So the sum aggregate function can be used in multiple forms. The first option is where we provide the range of cells from A1 to A5. The colon symbol is used for range declaration. The second option is a brute force way of adding values in cell addresses of A1, A2, A3, A4, and A5. The fourth one is where we call the sum function and pass 5 parameters directly with the individual cell addresses separated by a comma. Now it's clear why the third option was the odd one out. All the other options tried adding 5 individual elements and the third one was just adding 2. So let's see what's the state of the leaderboard right now. Considering only 3 people answered correctly, All three of them were part of the top 10 board, which pushes Prince to the top position. Let's see if he can keep his position consistent till the end of the quiz. Question number 4. Which of the following will prevent users from writing irrelevant data on a spreadsheet? Is it A, workbook protection? Is it B, data validation? Is it C, spreadsheet protection? Or D, conditional formatting? This is a very close, very close options that we have. So make sure to read the question correctly and the options carefully. Which of the following will prevent users from writing irrelevant data in a spreadsheet? Time is up, with majority giving the answer correctly, which is option B, data validation. But before I explain why the answer is, let us understand the question. Most of you have presumed the answer would be either workbook protection or spreadsheet protection, since we had the term avoid. The idea was to prevent users from adding invalid or irrelevant data, not to prohibit them altogether. Coming to conditional formatting, it is just a procedure employed, more like cell formatting or number formatting with a condition. So this brings us to data validation as the last option. Data validation is employed to avoid invalid data entries by enabling suggestions, errors, and warnings in the entire spreadsheet. First, it suggests the user to write relevant data or choose from the available options. If the user tries to forcefully bypass or overrule the suggestion and type in an invalid data entry, then the spreadsheet will not allow it and will throw an error. The error programming can be done only with the help of data validation in MS Excel. More details, check out our data validation in Excel tutorial, which clearly explains everything in and around data validation using Microsoft Excel. Only the bottom half of the leaderboard was able to answer that correctly, which might suggest a change in the leaderboard and a lot of change in the leaderboard, with Ola being the fastest one to answer this question. Let's move on to question number 5. Question number 5 states, which of the following sum functions is invalid? The 4 options being, the first one is sum function, second one is sum if function, third option is sum sq function, and the fourth one is sum if s function. Which of the following sum function is invalid? Five more seconds. 20 people have answered already. Okay, a lot of people answered in the last second. Okay, how many people? The majority got it correct. Okay, so all the sum functions here relate to sum aggregation except for sum sq. Sum sq is slightly different. Unlike the other sum functions, the sum sq first calculates the square of the given value and adds the square of those given values together. Slightly different, but enough to warrant a odd one out answer to it. There seems to be 3 people left out on the top 10 leaderboard, which pushes Ola to the first person and Shashank to second. Guys who are not a part of the top 10 leaderboard, please answer fast so that you can get more points and come up top. Let's move on to question number 6, which asks, how do you custom format your cells in Excel to make them invisible? You can see the 4 commands and the 4 options. How do you custom format your cells in Microsoft Excel to make them invisible? For anyone who joined us on the YouTube stream in the past few minutes, please go to the link www.menti.com and use the code 23035639 to take part in the quiz. Answers given in the YouTube chat section will not be considered for Amazon vouchers, and which the top 3 winners are going to get. And 9 people were able to give the correct answer this time, which is the triple colon symbol. The answer might feel a little off the topic, but if you dig a little deeper, you can understand that the overall question is about formatting in Excel. Most of you have thought hiding or deleting cells in Excel would help, but they come under routine spreadsheet practices. The last option of 3 semicolons. The semicolon come under custom cell formatting, specially dedicated to hiding your cells and data in them. The remaining special symbol options were included to test whether viewers can recognize the right custom formatting option to turn it invisible. The cells will be present on the spreadsheet, but they will be invisible. With customized formatting, they can be visible or highlighted once you hover or click on the cell. Let's see if there is any drastic change on the leaderboard. There might just be, and there is. Ola moved from first position to the fourth, pushing Prince, Shashank, and Gulu up to the first, second, and third positions on the leaderboard. Quicker answers, more points. Tail is old as time. Let's move on to question number 7. Question number 7 asks which of the following functions in Excel works as a trial and error approach. Is it option A, XLOOKUP? Is it option B, VStat? Is it C, what if analysis, or D, goal seek? Which of the following function in Excel works as a trial and error approach? A lot of people answer this question in the first 10-15 seconds. Let's see how many of them are accurate. I'm expecting a lot of correct answers in this one based on the frequency of how people answer this. No, correct answer is option D, which is goal seek. Most of you have thought what if analysis is the right answer, as can be seen on the screen. In a way, but not completely. The idea of including what if analysis in the option was to confuse, really. The what if analysis combines goal seek, scenario manager, and data table methods. Out of all of these, goal seek is the process that runs all the possible permutations and combinations, just like a trial and error approach to find the right result to fit the puzzle. On the other hand, VStack and HStack functions are pretty recent functions that will return the array form by appending each array argument in a row and column fashion respectively. And XLOOKUP is a new type of lookup function that combines the ability of HLOOKUP and VLOOKUP. Under 10 people have answered this question correctly, which is odd, but on brand. Depending on the question. Shashank has only solidified his position further up top with the gap getting bigger between first and second. So others, please answer fast while we move to question number 8. What is the best tool to enter days of the week for an entire year? Is it option A, cut and paste? Is it option B, flash fill? Is it C, find and replace? Or option D, data validation? Which is the best tool to enter days of the week for an entire year in a spreadsheet? 10 more seconds. A lot of the people did not answer this one till now. Going to be a lot of last entries for this one. There are a lot of last entries for this one. Okay, so time's up, and still majority gave the correct answer, which is flash fill. Simple and direct question for those who use Excel daily, really. The cut and paste option could be the right answer to an extent, but it does not hold good in a progressive state. Let us imagine that you enter the next fiscal year. The approach does not seem feasible. Similarly, the find and replace option is also not the right answer. Data validation sounds like the right option to some, but again, data validation comes under programming your spreadsheet to accept the right and valid data. That leaves us flash fill. Flash fill comes in handy on multiple occasions, like understanding the pattern, splitting the existing data, predicting the successive data element based on the existing data on the sheet. I hope somewhere your subconscious mind is still thinking about XLOOKUP, as it sounded a little new. Don't worry about it. We have a complete XLOOKUP tutorial on our channel, so feel free to go through it. Moving ahead, let's see if there are any drastic changes. No, mostly similar. Sandeep has moved up to second position. Great going, Sandeep. Let's see if others can catch up to him. For those who are already in the top 10 leaderboard, for every reason to answer the questions quickly. The question number 9 is, which symbols are used for denoting absolute cell reference in Microsoft Excel? You can see the 4 options: the exclamation mark, dollar sign, ampersand symbol, or simple hash. Which of these symbols are used for denoting absolute cell reference in Microsoft Excel? Almost everyone has answered this one very quickly. 3 more seconds. Okay, almost everyone got the answer right, which is the dollar symbol. For a moment, we could have selected the ampersand symbol, since ampersand is used as an address symbol in popular programming languages like C and all. So let us discuss those possibilities in these options. The exclamation mark means that the workbook is a macro-enabled workbook with the extension .xlsm. The ampersand symbol is a calculation operator that lets users join text items without a function. The hash symbol is used to refer to a spill range in Microsoft Excel. Now we are left with the dollar symbol exclusively used for cell references. When you try to denote absolute cell references, you need the dollar symbol to do it in your formula bar. Everyone in the leaderboard was able to answer the question correctly, and there's very little change in the leaderboard. Let's move on to question number 10. Which of the following functions in Excel will help you count the number of unique items in a given set? Question is a mouthful, so read it carefully. Which of the following functions in Excel will help you count the number of unique items in a given set? Is it option A, Unicode? Is it B, unique? Is it C, unichar? Or D, CubeStat count? Count the number of unique items in a given set. Majority gave the wrong answer, which is not unique. The correct answer is CubeSat count. The unichar function will convert the parameters passed into a Unicode number representing a character. The Unicode function will give the number for the first character of a supplied text string. That leaves us with CubeSat count. The CubeSat count is a function in Excel that calculates the number of unique items in a given set. That let's move on to the leaderboard, after which we can go to question number 11. Okay, only 3 people answered correctly, which pushes mine to the second position. All right, let's go to question number 11 to see if that leaderboard can be shaken up even further. Dash is used for task automation in Excel. Is option A, macros? Is it option B, Power BI? Is it C, dashboard? Or the Power Query? Which of these is used for task automation in Excel? 10 more seconds. Okay, so time is up and majority gave right, with the answer is being macros. See, Power BI is a business intelligence tool that comes along with Microsoft Excel that is specifically used for analytics. A dashboard is a collection of charts and graphs used to represent the insights of the data interactively, which we already have put in the spreadsheet. Power Query is the tool that is used to connect external data sources to Excel. The last option left is macro. Now, macros in Excel are executed in the VBA or the Visual Basics platform. The Visual Studio is exclusively designed and deployed by Microsoft, and Excel uses it to design and deploy its macros. Macros in Excel are reprogrammed functions that redundantly occur in the analytics process. They eliminate the repeated usage of the formulae by automating these processes, so you do not have to go through them again and again while working throughout your spreadsheet. Which Anubhav has now moved to 9th position from 5th because of his inability to answer this one question. Competition is fierce. So let's see how far the top 3 players can hold their positions. Moving on to question number 12. How can you compare the 2 columns in Excel? The first option being compare function. The second one is the exact function. The third one is unichar function. The fourth is VLOOKUP. Which of these can you use to compare 2 columns in MS Excel? People answer very fast when it comes to function related questions, it feels. Already most of the people have answered in the with 10 seconds to spare. Okay, so time is up. Split by the thinnest of margins with 10 people giving the wrong answer. The correct answer here is VLOOKUP. VLOOKUP function in Excel is a search by comparison method that checks and compares individual cells with the search key elements and recognizes when there is a match. Similarly, we have HLOOKUP for row-wise search and XLOOKUP, a combination of HLOOKUP and VLOOKUP. The exact function in Excel is used to compare, but the catch is that it is designed to simultaneously compare only two different cells. But the question was to compare two different columns, which are only possible using VLOOKUP. And lastly, Unicare. It returns the character represented by Unicode number 32, which is a space character. We have already covered the use of Unicare in a previous question. 3 people answered out of the top 10 in this quiz, which does not introduce a lot of change, but it does push Teoma to the 8th position, making a late push for the leaderboard, which moves us to question number 13. Which type of table in Excel can automatically adjust its size according to the addition or deletion of elements? Is the option A a variable table? Is option B dynamic table? Is it C a pivot table? Or D dynamic pivot table? Which of these tables can automatically adjust its size irrelevant of if you add or delete products later on, even after the data has already been filled for the first time? And the time is up. Oh, majority gave it the answer pivot table, where the correct answer is dynamic table. Dynamic table adjusts its size by itself whenever a new data element is added to it. The table can be converted to a dynamic table by making use of offset functions. Looking at the rest of the options, the term variable table was added more to create little ambiguity, although only one person fell to that trick. The pivot table in Excel, which majority went with, is an interactive data table. It is used to summarize the existing data but not change itself altogether when a new element is added. So that does not make it dynamic or makes it static, to be more precise. We might see a lot of shaker considering only one of the top few have answered, and Mike is now moved to the first position, cutting the lead from Shashank by a few points. Let's move on to question number 14. What is the shortcut key combination to enable the quick analysis option to insert instant charts in Excel? This is a question that only experienced Excel users may be able to answer, but have a go at. The option being a Control Q, Control S, Control Shift lower arrow key, or option D, Control Shift upper arrow key. Each of these will enable the quick analysis option to insert instant charts in an Excel sheet. Time is up, and majority answered correctly, which is option A. It's the Control Q. We all know the quickest way to transform tabular data into a chart is by using the charts option available in the insert menu. But is there a shortcut? Anyone who uses these charts may have come across a shortcut key combination when the mouse pointer hovers over the charts icon. Excel displays the shortcut key combination. Now the question was to find the correct combination, which is Control plus Q. The last two options were to select cells, and the second option was to save the workbook. Like I said, it's something that only the seasoned Excel users may be able to grasp, which is apparently 9 out of our top 10 answers for this quiz. Very little change in the leaderboard. So we'll be moving on to question number 15. We are already more than halfway. So if you have not yet seen the side of the leaderboard, it's time to start answering quickly now. Question number 15 is, how can you cycle through all the combinations of absolute and relative cell references in a formula? The given options are Control plus Enter, Shift plus F5, Alt plus Enter, or just plain F4. How do you cycle through the combinations of absolute and relative cell formulas, relative cell references in a formula? Apologies. 5 more seconds. Okay, time's up, and got the correct answer from majority, which is F4. When you select a range of cells to run through a mathematical or logical formula, you need to set them in a range such that every iteration of the formula can run through individual cells one after the other. This is possible only when you declare the absolute addresses. This can be done only with the help of function key F4. Majority were able to answer correctly, which should not introduce a lot of changes, barring one, in the top 10 leaderboard, pushing us to question number 60. Which shortcut is used to add a macro to your spreadsheet? Is it option A, Control Q? Is it option B, Control plus F11? Is it C, F5? Or option D, Control plus S? We already covered macros in a previous question where we went through the use and where these situations, what are the situations where we can use macros to our advantage. What's the shortcut for adding macro to your spreadsheet? 3 more seconds and time is up, with the correct answer being Control plus F11, as majority of the people were able to dictate. So as discussed, Control Q is a shortcut option to insert instant charts into the spreadsheet. The F5 function in Excel is used to access the go to options dialog box. Control S is by default the data saving shortcut key irrespective of Excel. So that leaves us with Control plus F5, which happens to be the shortcut for adding macros to the Excel spreadsheet. You can just find the answer by eliminating the wrong options. And 5 people eliminated the others in the top 10, which pushes Sandeep to the second position thanks to being the fastest answer in the last question. See, fastest answer will get you points very quickly. So let's improve on that with question number 17, which states which of the following functions in Excel will help you replace the new text with the old text in multiple instances. The first option is the replace function. Option B is the substitute function. Option C is switch. And option D is choose. You need to replace new text with old text. Very few questions left, guys. So let's give out these answers very quickly if you want to catch up to the top 3 in the leaderboard. Majority answered wrong, which is the correct option is substitute. The replace is obviously wrong. See here, the replace and the substitute functions seem correct. It can be confusing, but according to the question, we need to replace the text not in one, but multiple instances in one go. Replace may work in MS Word, but in MS Excel, replace will only work for one instance, but the substitute will work for multiple instances of the same. Switch is a conditional statement that evaluates an expression against a list of values to find the right result. Switch function throws a default answer if that right result is not found. The choose function selects an action from a list of values based on the index number. Every option seemed to be a close match, but only substitute was the correct answer. The top 2 were not able to answer, which might push Shashank to the top. No, it does push him to third position, with Prince taking the second spot and pushing Sandeep all the way down to 4th, which seems like an insurmountable lead at this point. Let's see if that can be surmounted in the question number 18. It states, how do you calculate the difference between any two numbers in Microsoft Excel? Is the option A, subtract function? Is it option B, the sum function? Is it C, the delta function? Or option 4, difference function? How can you calculate the difference between any two numbers in Microsoft Excel? Majority gave the answer. Once again, some functions usually are, the questions regarding to the functions usually get very quick answer. Time is up, which means a lot of the people were able to answer the question. No, nobody was able to answer correctly, with the correct option being option 4, which is delta. See, the two options are dedicatedly added to test our viewers' knowledge of MS Excel. Those are subtract and diff. Both of these are non-existing functions in Excel. Both the sum and delta functions can be used to perform a subtraction operation. The sum function will carry subtraction only if there is a negative number in the set of values, as can be understood by the sum word. But on the other hand, the delta function is dedicated to finding the difference between the two given numbers. Delta subtracts a smaller number from a bigger number and prints the result. Needless to say, there is no change in the leaderboard, considering we did not have anyone giving the right question, which decreases the number of questions others get to close the gap to 6, where question number 19 asks, which function will count all the cells having the data stored in them among the given options. You can see a sample spreadsheet on your screen where you're answering the questions. Just need to find the function to count the total number of cells which have data stored in them. Is it option A, count? Is it option B, count A? Is it option B, count if? Or D, count if S? Time's up. Okay, 7 people, pretty even approach for the entire audience. So the option B is correct option, which is count A. Each option added here is connected to the count operation in one way or the other. But according to the question, we should count the total number of cells with the valid data. Everything in the table is valid except for A1, which is a blank cell. Now the count function is used to count cells only with numeric values and prints the results at 30, which is the wrong answer. To print 43 as the right answer, we need to select the count A formula, which counts cells with data regardless of the data type. Count if and count if s are count functions with logical conditions leading to them. See, oh, only one was able to answer correctly in the leaderboard, which will push him up to second position straight away. See, all it takes is one question if you're in the top 10 leaderboard to really grab your spot back. Moving on to question number 20. How do you find the current date in Microsoft Excel? Is it option A, the day function? Is it option B, the today function? Is it C, workday function? Or D, workday.intl? A rather simple question, so I'm expecting a lot of correct answers in this one. But surprisingly, not a lot of people have answered yet, which means a lot of late entries again. Okay, the time is up now, which puts us as majority answered correctly, which is today. The day option function will essentially help us find the weekday of the calendar. Workday returns the nearest workday to the given date value. And the intl function in Microsoft Excel returns the date serial number before or after a specified number of workdays with the custom weekend parameters. Might see a shift in the leaderboard this time around. We did. Sandeep has moved from 5th to 1st in a matter of 2 questions. Okay, let's see if we can hold his position. We're going to the last 5 questions of our quiz this time, so make use of them as much as you can. Question number 21 states, which of the following is not a wildcard in Microsoft Excel? Is it option A, the tilde symbol? Is it B, an exclamation mark? Is it C, an asterisk? Or D, question mark? Which of the following is not a wildcard in Microsoft Excel? Few more seconds left till we know the right answer. Okay, time's up, and 3 people, the least people answered the right option, which is the exclamation mark. The wildcards are symbols with special meanings. These wildcards are used for very specific purposes. The asterisk is used for text comparison by taking the place of characters in an existing text. It can act as a placeholder. The question mark wildcard is used for getting an alternate suggestion of the data in cells in a spreadsheet. Tilde symbol is another wildcard used as a marker to indicate the next character is little. And Excel only have 3 wildcards. So the only odd man out was the exclamation. No one answered in the top 3. Okay, or in the top 10 for that. Great. So let's move on to question number 22. 4 more questions to grab your final spots. You forget to write the division operator in the image below. What kind of error are you going to encounter? You have the sample sheet with you. You just forget to write the division operator in the image. Among the 4 options, which is the name, value, div, and null, which of the errors are you going to face because of the above condition? Excuse me. Very slow answers this time around. Okay, time is up, and very few people gave the correct answer, which is null. Microsoft Excel has its own set of errors and exceptions like any other programming language. Each has a specific meaning and points to a specific type of error. Since we have a division function on the screen, you might have thought it's div, I'm guessing, which I can see clearly. 12 people answered div, but it's not. To better understand this scenario, let us understand the meaning of individual errors behind the option. The name error is shown when you end up typing a method or function with a special meaning. The value error is displayed when the cell addresses is wrong or invalid. The div error is displayed when the numerator or cell value is divided by the number 0. And lastly, our answer, which is null, is displayed when the mathematical function you entered is wrong. Slightly tricky question, which will probably help Mayank go to first position, pushing Sandeep down to the second one, the very, very thin margin. Okay, last 3 questions till we receive our final spots for this quiz. Which mathematical function is smart and gives result for only the visible cells? Is it option A, subtotal? Is it option B, offset? Is it option C, sum? Or option D, indirect? Which of them is smart and gives result only visible cells? Few more seconds. Time's up, and we have the okay. I won't say majority answered correctly, but yeah, a lot of the people answered correctly, which is option A, subtotal. See, the correct answer is subtotal, as the function is designed for a column of data or vertical ranges. It is not designed for rows of data or horizontal ranges. For example, hiding a column does not affect the subtotal when you subtotal a horizontal range using a function num of 101 or greater. It can be used in the way of subtotal of 109, B2, G2. It does not take into account. The sum function is used to aggregate a range of cell values regardless of whether they have any numerical data or not, which alternately is in contrast to a first part of the question, which states that which of the mathematical function is smart. Offset function is used with any function expecting a reference argument, and the indirect function is employed when you have to lock a specific cell in a formula. See how many answered correctly. I think okay, where Mike is now pushed to third position. There's a bit of a seesaw going on at the top. Let's see if anyone from the top 5 can jump to the first 3 spots. Okay, 2 more questions left for that to happen. So let's move on to question number 24, which asks which of the following formattings in Excel is considered volatile? Is it A, cell formatting? Is it B, number formatting? Is it C, conditional formatting? Or D, special formatting? Just a reminder, everyone, if you're one of the top 3 winners, please send us your screenshots to youtube-contest@simplilearn.net. You can use a screenshot of the screen where it states the position, or you can take a picture with the phone and mail us that picture as well. This is just a way to verify that we are indeed giving the vouchers to the right people. And the right people have answered the correct one, which is option number C, conditional formatting. It is super volatile as they're evaluated whenever the cell has conditional formatting and undergoes an update. On the other hand, the number formatting and cell formatting are applied once, and they remain that way until the end of the process of data analytics. Rather simple question, rather obvious output from the people. And we might see a small change in the screen. Yeah, the third position and the second position of interchange places in the leaderboard, giving one last option for others to make the jump with the last question of the day, which asks the functions below are used to calculate the time age difference between 2 dates. Pick the odd one out. The options are age function, year back function, date function, or date diff function. Which of them are odd one out in this group? It's being used to calculate the time or age difference between 2 dates. It's the final question. A lot of flow interest this time as well. Okay, time's up. The least number of people answered the correct question, which is age. See, year frac function calculates the fraction of the year represented by the number of whole days between the two dates given. E-date is used to calculate the maturity dates or due dates that fall on the same day of the month as the date of the issue. The dative function is also one of the functions used to calculate the time difference between the two dates. All the functions except age are authentic functions in Excel and are completely valid. The term age was included in the options as odd one out to distract you from choosing the right answer, which clearly it worked at some level. So let's see the final standings. I think it is pretty obvious that considering only one in the top 10 was able to answer, which makes Sandeep the winner of today's quiz. Congratulations, Sandeep, with Mayank taking the second position and Prince Kumar Singh as the third winner of today's quiz. I would request all three of you to send the screenshots of your screen to YouTube contest at simplilearn.net so that you can receive your Amazon vouchers. In regards to everyone else, I really thank you for taking part in this quiz and for spending this evening with us. We keep having quizzes on different technologies, so if you need to stay updated on what we do and what the technology is going to be the next week or the week after that, please follow us on our social media handles and subscribe to our YouTube channel, considering we advanced the quizzes a day before. Thank you so much again for spending this time with us. Stay safe.